Howdy, everyone. Frankie here, New West Reset. Hello, how's it going? Welcome back. Thank you very much for shooting in, joining a fella here for another one, another live one, as a matter of fact. New West Reset Live, episode 144 here today. 144 on this Sunday, November the 9th, 2025. Just a wee bit past 5 p.m. local time, mountain time. Coming at you live as per usual, simultaneously on the HooTubes and on the Bumble. So howdy everybody on YouTube and Rumble. Good to see all of you. Coming at you from Calgary and Purdy, Alberta, southern Alberta. That's up in Canada land there, eh? Beautiful day here today. It was plus 10 Celsius, 52-ish Fahrenheit. Still plus 7, which was high 40s Fahrenheit, somewhere in there. Anyway, lovely day. Sunday, November 9th. Thanks for joining me. Appreciate it as always. Today we're going to be looking at the old world in music. This is the third episode in this series. We're going to be looking at some clues in the blues. This time around, Natchez, Mississippi, by way of the Howlin' Wolf, Chester Arthur Burnett, my favorite blues singer. Links below for everything we're going to cover, as well as how you can get a hold of a fella, emails and BitChute and whatnot and so forth. So thanks for joining me. If you haven't already, please, do all the things. Give a guy one of these. Helps to, just to push me out into the algo, as the kids say. Thanks to everybody who's already shared and subscribed. And thanks if you're watching this after the live. I really appreciate you. That's 2 hours usually, eh? So that's a nice chunk. So appreciate that. You know what? This is what I had a couple of days ago. So I hope you're having a lovely day today. It's not bad today, but this is what I had a couple of days ago. And yeah. So yeah, doing much better now. I trust you're doing well. Let me know how you doing in the chat. Let's say how did everybody in the box. See what's what. How everyone's doing. Channel Fitty Trees here. Hello, hello. Been waiting for 56 minutes. Bless you. Thank you very much. Wow. Sorry to keep you waiting there, eh? Chassis Nix is here. Howdy, Chassis. Good to see you. Hiya, Hippie. Hippie Shake in the box. Hello, hello. Cousin Vinny over here. Cousin Vinny's here, huh? Hello. Good to see you there, bud. It's yeah, blue is blue's my favorite color, but it's there's something weird going on with the color blue. Anyway, that's a whole different thing. Stephanie is here. Babylon Fox in the box. Hello, good to see you. Hope everybody's having a good weekend, and thanks for winding down your weekend here with yours truly. Who else we got here? Yeah, I think that's everybody. Title's here. Good to see you, Title. Hello, hello. Baja in the box. How's it going? How's it going? Kathy Broughton is here, as per usual. our buddy Kathy. Hello, thank you for being here. Speaking of our buddies, there's Vaughn, eh? Hello, Vaughn. How you doing? So yeah, we're going to be looking at Natchez, or as the locals would just pronounce it, Natchez, 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 Mississippi. I come by way of this whole thing in terms of tonight's subject matter by way of my favorite blues cat, the Howlin' Wolf. And he did a song called "The Natchez Burnin'." It's kind of a haunting tune. It always struck me, even when I was in my younger years, just in terms of the lyrics. And I've spoken about this before, that for me, at least from my research, I got a lot of blues books. I got hundreds of blues albums. To me, from what I can tell, the blues was one of the first styles, genres, whatever you want to call it, of music, where the performer, if he was most especially a singer, a vocalist, or a multi-instrumentalist who's also a singer, like Howlin' Wolf, right? Sang, he could play harmonica, he could play guitar. But it's where they're entering themselves into the story. They're putting themselves or their stage persona and singing about themselves in the third person as a character in whatever the subject matter of the song is in the blues. There's other genres that do it, but from what I can tell, the blues was the first. And Howlin' Wolf's version does that with this song, "The Natchez Burning." So much, though, that I had no reason to doubt that it wasn't a real occurrence. I just kind of chalked it up to, ooh, that was something terrible that happened locally to Howlin' Wolf back in the day, and he decided to write and record a song about it. All right. But of course, now with new eyes, look into these things, and you see things from a different light, a different perspective, which kind of leads me to this series within the live show here on the Sunday Fun Day Show. Oftentimes you get hints, much as we look at old photographs or maybe look at old film footage or old film reels. They give you hints sometimes if you know where to look. And I think much can be said about old music. The older, the better, physical music too, not just some digital download that can be monkeyed with. I'm talking about physical copy, preferably in its original form. If it was originally pressed as a vinyl 12-inch, long play record, perfect. If it was on one of those 78 RPM shellac platters that spins real fast on the old phonographs, so be it. Sometimes it's only on reel to reel, whatever the case may be, right? So with this song, "The Natchez Burning," it kind of led me down a very interesting path. Thought I'd share it with you. I hope you enjoy what we're going to have a look at. But first, I'm coming at this pretty legitimately in terms of Howlin' Wolf being my favorite bluesman. So I thought I'd quickly share with you, real quick, fast, and in a hurry. Quick like a bunny, because we got a lot to cover here. Just some of the stuff that I've got that's Howlin' Wolf related. Like, for example, this envelope with a commemorative stamp of Howlin' Wolf. What else do I got here? Got some books. I'm dropping shit everywhere here. Pardon my French. I got a book here. Life and Times of Howlin' Wolf, Chester Arthur Burnett. I got a DVD here, the Howlin' Wolf story. What else have I got? All kinds of stuff here, man. Of course, got the CDs of stuff that you can't get on vinyl or is too much of a collector's item to, or a guy might not be able to afford it, or I just can't find it on vinyl. It's a good one. It's a live CD. All kinds of stuff, man. Got some we call them up here in Canada 45s, eh? The 45 RPM 7-inch singles. Got I've Been Abused by the Howlin' Wolf on chess. And I've got Shake for Me by the Howlin' Wolf on chess. So needless to say, a bit of a fan. I've got, as mentioned, hundreds of blues albums in my collection. I try to be a minimalist, but there's some stuff, I just can't help it. There's Howlin' Wolf album there. This is an album of his rarities that he did at Sun Records in Memphis. Well, Memphis Recording Service, then later Sun Records, with Sam Phillips. This is just sort of a greatest hits, Howlin' Wolf. Howlin' Wolf album. Still in the shrink, still in the cellophane from when it was new in the store in the early 70s. This one's an import from, where's this from? It's European import. I can't remember exactly where. Some of his previously unreleased stuff, that was never on any studio album. This is a reissue of an album of his that I couldn't find the original, so the reissue will do. Bauhaus says, I miss cover art, even on CDs and cassettes were usually a cool fold out. Yeah, absolutely, right? It's not the same if you download music and, you get a thumbnail. Great. But it's not the same, right? Looking at it on a tiny little image on your device rather than looking at, it's a 12-inch album cover. It's a foot wide and a foot tall, man. It's another compilation reissue. Howlin' Wolf. This is a cadet concept album that he did with Marshall Chess, who later went to do stuff with the Rolling Stones. It's kind of like blues mashed up with psychedelic music and psychedelic guitar and stuff. It's got some of Miles Davis's band on here, which is kind of cool. Of course, got to have the Howlin' Wolf London sessions when he went over to London to record with Charlie Watts and Stevie Winwood and Eric Clapton, Bill Wyman. It was a later album of his in the mid-70s. He passed in, I think, 77. This is a double LP compilation album as well, just of his studio stuff. Sorry for the glare. There we go. So yeah, bit of a fan of the Wolf, the Howlin' Wolf. There's a live album in Chicago. So yeah, go batty for the Howlin' Wolf. I don't know, it's his presence, it's his passion, it's his voice. Again, the music that he recorded, whether he wrote it himself or was written by Willie Dixon or somebody else, or a modern interpretation of an older Charlie Patton tune, which we've covered on this show before in this series, The Old World of Music, Clues and Blues. Talked about Charlie Patton. Channel 53 says a lot of rock records would even have a gear list. Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, that's right. You have all the the credits, the album credits. Tells you, you know, who was playing what instrument, maybe where and when it was recorded, what studio. You get all the liner notes, as we call it. So I thought what we'd do here first is we'd start off with the song itself, The Natchez Burning by Hollow Wolf. Hopefully YouTube doesn't shut it down. That should be fine. What I'll do is I'll pause it every little bit and make sure the lyrics are loud and clear. Then we'll kind of look into the events that he's singing about a little more closely. And then something that was a surprise to me is there was actually a lot of songs recorded about this event, because this event was a pretty big thing and is still remembered locally in Natchez, Mississippi. Now, the only reason I'm even familiar with Natchez, Mississippi at all is just from the Howlin' Wolf song and, you know, reading biographies about different bluesmen, and a lot of them would travel to or through Natchez, playing at juke joints or different blues clubs. You know, the train ran through Natchez too, so you could hobo it and catch a train in and out of town. I believe at one point it was even part of the old Chitlin circuit, as it's known in the blues. That's just what it was called, man. I don't know. So yeah, let's have a look at this song itself, Howlin' Wolf, The Natchez Burning. And then we'll get a little more into something here. Just, I guess I'll just pull it up from the official Howlin' Wolf YouTube channel. And sorry, I'll pull it up here and I'll share it with you. Let's see what is what. All right. So hopefully you can see that okay. Please let me know in the box. I haven't started playing it yet, so hopefully you'll be able to hear it all right as well. All right. So this is the Howlin' Wolf, Chester Arthur Burnett, and the Natchez Burning. It's now this event was not quite 100 years old, by the way. In the in the description box below here, I do make mention of 100-year-old music, but look, this is 85 years. It's close enough. Close enough. So let me hit play here, and please let me know in the box, in the chat, if you can hear it okay as well, all right?
Did you hear about the burning that happened way down in Natchez, Mississippi town?
So can you hear that all right? All right, Vaughn's giving the A-OK. Thank you, thank you. Good. Thank you. Thanks, Ross. Water the tree. By the way, your latest video upload from just a couple hours ago. Outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. Thank you. All right. Sounds good here. Channel Fitty Tree. Thank you. Yeah, you know what? I screwed up on this one, Stephanie. Babylon Fox asking, don't you have it in digital? I screwed up on this one. I was going to record the song from one of my records and then just create a little video montage to go with it. And time kind of got away from me there. So we're just watching it on the official Howlin' Wolf YouTube channel. Sure, it'll be fine. Morgan's here. Isabella live. Good to see you. Hello, Morgan. How you doing? Old World, Michigan in the box. Howdy. All right. Let's get back to it here. So he says, did you ever hear about the burning that happened in Natchez, Mississippi town?
Did you ever hear about the burning that happened way down in Natchez, Mississippi town?
By the way, the nice thing about kind of the most traditional form, or the widest, the most popularly used form of the blues is what's known as the call and response or call and answer, AAB. So you sing a line, then you sing the line again, you repeat it again, and then you sing the third line, which is a different line but rhymes with the first repeating lines. So if you didn't catch what he said the first time in the first line, don't worry, he'll tell you again, just to make sure you know what he's talking about.
The old building got the burning. Down my baby laying on the ground.
So he said the whole building got to burning. Down my baby laying on the ground. The whole building got to burning. Down my baby laying on the ground. Ooh, it's rough. But I guess that's the blues for you.
Charlotte Jones was there.
So not only is he singing about the event as a witness to the event, but he's calling out some people that were there. Charlotte Jones was there. Charlotte Jones was there. Good for you, hippie. Bless you. That's fantastic. Hippie Shake says, I have all my old vinyl records. Yeah, I still have some from when I was going to say, a child, right? I was a kid, but really, 12, 13, which back in the 70s, when you were 13, you were still just a kid. At least I was just a dumbass kid. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's his real voice too. Good point, Baja in the box saying real voice too. Yeah. Oh, my pleasure, Ross. Ross, water the tree, saying thank you. Yeah, come on, man. That video, that blew my mind, man. It blew my mind.
Lou Eisner was there.
I think he's saying Lou Eisner or Lou Eisner was there.
Rosa May was there. Louise was there.
Yeah. Rosie May and Louise were both there. Those are ladies that Howlin' Wolf himself has sung about in the past as well. So,
did you ever hear about the burning that happened way down in Natchez, Mississippi town?
So again, he's repeating that. Did you ever hear about the burning that happened in Natchez, Mississippi town?
I stood back, was looking, and the old building done tumbled down.
And if that wasn't clear for you, I stood back, was looking, and the whole building done tumbled down. There's no mincing words there, people. And there's no mistaking what he's talking about. This building burnt down. There was other people besides him that witnessed it, but he's singing about this thing. Again, referring to himself and people that he knows in the lyrics being there witnessing this thing. It could very well be. There was some suspicious fires in Natchez, Mississippi in the past. Now, this wasn't, back in the 1890s that he's singing about here. I believe this happened in 1940. So it was mentioned about 85 years ago. But, we're getting to the point here where 1940 seems like so long ago now as we move closer and closer to 2030, right? And then this is how he gets the nickname, the Howlin' Wolf. He's got a very haunting falsetto-ish howl or cry or moan, high-pitched moan. It's hard to describe the sound that he makes, but he's famous for it. He does it in a lot of his songs. It's really cool sounding. It sounds a bit like a wolf howling. See what I mean? Very hard to describe, but the Howlin' Wolf suits him. The other thing, too, I like about it is that it's certain subject matter when he adds that howl, I'll call it. It really lends itself to the whatever it is he's singing about. If he's singing about a subject that's kind of eerie or some kind of tragic real life event like the Natchez burning, that howl really helps to add to the eeriness. It helps to drive home the point that, this is some heavy stuff that went down and it was for realsies, Plus the tinkling piano the whole time in the background just amps up the tension in the song, in my opinion. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, Baja's got it. The piano line is just walking scales up and down. Sounds cool, yeah. Chassis Nicks in the box says they had the CCC around here in the 30s and 40s, destroying everything. I'm not sure what forgive my ignorant Canadian, what's the word I'm looking for? Just my general sheltered lack of knowledge. Not really sure what the Triple C stands for. Doesn't sound the best, though. Whatever it is, it can't be good. Yeah, you need some whiskey. Kathy says, I feel like an alcohol drink listening to this music, but I can't anymore. Yeah, well, if you can't, then don't. But I get what you're after. Yeah, you need a little bit of corn lick in you, maybe some of that CVY. Oh, thank you. Okay, duh, thank you. Yeah, see, I told you I was a sheltered Canadian. Very naive. That's the word I was looking for earlier, naive. Anyway, so let's quickly look into this whole Natchez fire thing. And then I'm going to play a couple of other tracks that I found that even I'm not going to call myself a blues aficionado. I'm just going to say somebody who's very passionate about the blues. And as a 55-year-old man, I've been listening to it for about 40 years. In fact, as a teenager, I was listening to Ozzy Osbourne and, Led Zeppelin and Motley Crue and Kiss. But I was also listening to Stevie Ray Vaughan and Jeff Healey Band and B.B. King. And a lot of my buddies used to scratch their heads, listening to the Howlin' Wolf, Muddy Waters, and Buddy Guy. What are you, weird? I guess so. But we'll quickly look into this. And like I said, I found a couple of other tracks that are, again, they're blues tracks that were recorded that are specifically about this event. Yeah, Water the Tree says sounds like the WPA. Yeah, that's another guilty party, isn't it? Yeah, Chassis Nicks was a government work program. for poor men during the Depression. Yeah, that I've heard of. They supposedly built bridges, roads, monuments. They bored tunnels through mountains for highways and roads, and they built dams, and you name it. Supposedly they were just all over the place building stuff. It was to help to kickstart the economy during the Dust Bowl and the Great Depression. We had something similar in Canada up here, but it was more on a provincial thing as opposed to a federal thing, I think. Correct me in the box, in the chat, if you know, but pretty sure Canada's was slightly different and not on such a large scale. All right, so let's quickly look into this whole Natchez thing. Let's start with Natchez, Mississippi itself, because, I mean, again, if I wasn't familiar with the blues and had heard this place mentioned in song lyrics, I would have never heard of Natchez, Mississippi. I'd be like, okay, sure, I heard of Mississippi, but I ain't heard of Natchez, Mississippi before in my life until, hearing that Wolf song. So Natchez is the only city in and the county seat of Adams County, Mississippi. Look at that place. In the United States, in County, Mississippi, United States, the population only 14,500 people in 2020, located on the Mississippi River across from Vidalia, Louisiana. Natchez was a prominent city in the antebellum years, center of cotton planters and Mississippi River trade. Natchez is approximately 90 miles or 140 clicks southwest of the capital of Jackson. See, Jackson, Mississippi, I heard of. And 85 miles or 137 clicks north of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. It's located on the lower Mississippi River. Natchez is the 28th largest city in the state of Mississippi. So see, it's not that big. The city was named for the Natchez people, who, with their ancestors, inhabited much of the area from the 8th century AD through the French colonial period. So it was established by French colonists in 1716. It's one of the oldest and most important European settlements in lower Mississippi River Valley. See, I didn't know that. I knew about French in and around there, for sure, of course. That's the official story. I get it. If the French lost the French and Italian boom kerfuffle, or the 7-year boom skirmish, they ceded Natchez and near territory to Great Britain in the Treaty of Paris of 1763. They traded other territory, yada. Okay. British Crown bestowed land grants in this territory to officers who had served with distinction in the war. Also came from the colonies New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. Established plantations and brought their upper class style of living to the area. Oh, of course, yes. Only the northern Americans, northern people from the northern states have upper class and high society. Oh, yes, of course, down in the south, just a bunch of backwards ass peckerwoods down there. Is that what you try to tell us there, Wikipedia? Because that's not very nice. Is that what you're implying? Huh? So it was under Spanish colonial rule in 1779, and it went back and forth, France and Spain, yada, yada, until, the Louisiana Purchase, 1803 and all that, which I'm sure we're all familiar with. So in 1810, 1,500 folks in Natchez, Mississippi. 1850, about 4,500. Keep that in mind. By 1900, just over 12,000. It's never exceeded 23,791 people, and that was in 1960. Predominantly Black or African American, then white, Indigenous, Native American, Asian, Pacific Islander, not many. You get two people from the islands. It's cold here, man. No, it's not. It's not cold at all. Compared to the island, it's very cold, you know. Other, I love that. Other. What's other? Anyways, link below for Natchez, Mississippi, in case you didn't know what that place was all about. I didn't realize the significance of it in terms of local trade or statewide trade even. But I guess, the cotton industry and plantations, a lot of cotton plantations in Mississippi, obviously. If you hadn't heard. So I'll quickly share this article. This is from youdiscovermusic.com. It's called The Natchez Burnin'. Howlin' Wolf Remembers the Mississippi Fire of 1940. So in 56, that's when that song he recorded was put on wax. So the fire in Natchez, Mississippi, that took the lives of more than 200 people in 1940 was observed several times on record soon afterwards. See, that's the part that got me. But it was on July 19th, 1956, that Howlin' Wolf recorded his own commemoration of those tragic events in what later became the Chess single, The Natchez Burnin'. There it is. We just listened to it. The fire broke out at the Rhythm Club when a flame ignited the Spanish moss that hung from its ceiling. This is on the inside of the joint, mind you. With windows nailed shut and only one exit door, a huge crush was inevitable as victims were burned or crushed to oblivion. The story became national news, and those to lose their lives were band leader Walter Barnes and 9 members of his own dance orchestra. Chicago hero. When the fire started, Barnes, who had recorded with his Royal Creolians in the late 1920s, had tried to calm the crowd by continuing to perform the song Mary with his fellow musicians. Does that sound familiar? Tried to calm the crowd by continuing to perform? Anyone in the box, in the chat, care to throw some other historically significant event out there where we've heard this before? He was remembered as a hero, and the Chicago Daily Defender, from whom he also wrote a column, reported that 15,000 people attended his funeral. Within 2 weeks of the fire, the Louis Bronzeville Five had recorded both the Mississippi Fire Blues and Natchez, Mississippi Blues. Soon afterwards, pianist Leonard Baby Duke Caston recorded The Death of Walter Burns, and under the name of vocalist Gene Gilmore, another track, or another side, as they were known as, called The Natchez Fire. Boom, title's got it, Titanic. Yes, and the band played on, right? And the band played on, ball of confusion. That's what the world is today. Hey, hey, and the band played on. So within a couple of weeks of the fire, these guys walked into the studios and recorded sides. One song was considered a side because back in 1940, a record was a 78 RPM shellac platter. Only one song on each side, and it would hold roughly a 3-minute song. You could stretch it to maybe 3 minutes 15, 3 minutes 20 seconds if you had a really good sound guy and you were really a polished musician and you had your song, down pat. But give or take 3 minutes. So if you wanted to come in and record a record, you had to have 2 songs or 2 sides. So often a guy would record one song or one side under his professional performing name, and then he'd record the flip side song, a different song, under a different name. So that's what this guy did here. Leonard Caston recorded the death of Walter Barnes, and under the name of vocalist Gene Gilmore, the Natchez Fire. So the recording session for the Natchez Burning on July 19th featured Wolf on harmonica and ever distinctive vocals, guitar by Willie Dixon, and drums by Earl Phillips, among others. Wolf made the tribute all the more poignant by naming some of those who died that day. Charlotte Jones was there, Louisa was there, Rosie May was there, Louise was there. Oh, I thought he says Lou Eisner was there, but he says Louisa was there. Sure, okay. He sang, "I stood back, was looking, and the whole building come tumbling down." It's not quite what he says. He says, "Done tumbled down." Come on now. You got to know how to talk the talk down in Mississippi. The building done tumbled down. Cousin Vinny in the box on Freemasons says 78s are crazy. I played one once. Felt like the record player was going to take off and fly. Yeah, it's like trying to put a stylus needle on a Frisbee. The track didn't become a Chess 45 or, 7-inch single until more than 3 years later, November 59, paired with an even older recording, "You Gonna Wreck My Life" from 1954. Natchez went on to inspire versions by a range of artists from John Lee Hooker to Captain Beefheart. Oh, Captain Beefheart did everything Howlin' Wolf did. As well as by Louisiana guitarist Robert Gilmore and two bluesmen who actually hailed from Natchez, Elmo Williams and Hezekiah Early. Okay, again, I'm not a blues historian or aficionado, but I ain't never heard of Hezekiah Early before. I have to look into that fella. So anyway, yeah, there you go. And then, of course, they try to peddle all kinds of stuff there at the bottom of the page. So, your viewer discretion, user discretion advised. Because they'll get you. Before you know, oh, that darn Frankie, we were reminiscing about vinyl records, and he put that link down there on his live stream, and next thing you know, I'm buying a Howlin' Wolf album. So another quick article here. This is from WBEZ. That's right, I'm Canadian, so I say the letter Z as Z, buddy? WBEZ. Chicago Public Media. So again, you're going to have to take this with a bit of a grain of salt if it's a public radio station in Chi-Town, but be that as it may. Let's see what these fellows have to say about the true story of Natchez burning. A tragic accident that took place decades ago. It's a small Mississippi town, made a huge impact on local and federal laws. Oh, this tragedy was also changed the music scene, especially in Chicago. For WB's, Ron Brown brings us the history. Blues legend Chester Burnett, also known as Howlin' Wolf, cut one of his most haunting records, Chess Studios, in Chicago in 56. Actually, didn't they say he cut it in 54 and it wasn't released until it's splitting hairs here. It's called The Natchez Burning. It's a classic piece of mournful blues music. It's also a true story. By the way, in the previous article, they said he played harmonica on that tune, and he did not. He's known, he's famous for his harmonica playing, but he never played no harmonica in that. 209 people perished in a corrugated tin building. See, there's a reason why I didn't like those corrugated metal Brutus facade buildings. They tell us that brick and stone buildings mysteriously burned down, but these are the real culprits. Anyways, it was called the Rhythm Club in Natchez, Mississippi. Happened 50 years ago this month. Or Fraser knew people who were saved from the fire. So then this Fraser goes on to say a lot of parents felt that they didn't want their kids to go. Said it was going to be too crowded. You don't need to go. It was crowded with good reason. The main attraction was a band from Chicago, Walter Barnes and his sophisticated swing orchestra. Clarinet and saxophone player Walter Barnes was born in Vicksburg, Mississippi, but he later moved to Chicago, where he attended high school and later studied music. He formed his first band, the Royal Creolians, in 24, and he recorded for the Brunswick label songs like Birmingham Bertha and It's Tight Like That. Oh, sounds to me like he was recording him some hokum tunes. If you don't know what hokum is, well, it's worth a goggle if you got an extra goggle in your pocket. Just burning a hole in there. Barnes performed at Chicago's swanky jazzy Savoy Ballroom, where big name stars like the Duke himself and the Diz and Woody Herman shared the stage. So White says Walter Barnes was also an entertainment editor for the Chicago Defender newspaper. At the time, it was the preeminent African-American paper in the nation. So this white fella is the executive director of the Natchez Museum of African American History and Culture. He says Barnes' resume also includes a 2-year stint at the notorious Cotton Club in Cicero. White goes on to say that Walter Barnes may not have had the national recognition. It's my understanding that he served for a number of years as the house band for one of Al Capone's speakeasies. Of course, you got to have the Al Capone in there when we're talking about jazz music and Chicago. So that gives you some idea of the stature of his musicianship, because he could get whatever he wanted and he always went for the best. The Rhythm Club in Natchez was quite a bit lower on the stature scale. Ouch! Ouch, W. Bez. Taking jabs again at Mississippi here. But Barnes and his band were touring and on their way back to Chicago decided to pass through Mississippi. Why not? He was from Jackson, right? Young fans in Natchez had been saving for months for the 50-cent admission charge. Club operator Ed Frazier wanted the Rhythm Club to look special for this big city band. He draped a plant called Spanish moss from the rafters to give the club a more stylish look. Ora Frazier recalls her brother-in-law's wishes for that night. You don't know what Spanish moss is? It's kind of that stuff that hangs off the trees. You see it in those movies about, Savannah, Georgia, and whatnot, right? You see them hanging from whipping willow trees and elm trees and oak trees and whatnot. Not sure if it's a good idea to take a dried plant and hang it from the ceiling of the inside of your club. But, all right. Anyway, so Frazier recalls he said that this is a big dance. I want it to look good. He sprayed the moss with some sort of insecticide to keep the bugs from coming in. The insecticide was Flit, a petroleum-based bug killer. It was popular at the time. It was also extremely flammable. That was not the only mistake made that night. In order to keep party crashers out, most of the club doors and windows were either padlocked or nailed shut, leaving the front doors the only way in and the only way out. Can you believe people did this? I don't know, man. This sounds hokey. We're going to nail the window shut while we pack people into this place and have a Chicago big band come in. But even though we're going to nail or padlock shit shut and trap people in here like sardines in this corrugated metal building, we want it to look sophisticated and nice and fancy like. So we're going to hang some Spanish moss in here. But we better spray it with flammable bug spray. What in the Sam Steele's going on, man? So apparently it was said that the band was playing Tuxedo Junction, and somebody apparently flipped a cigarette and started that fire. Fire broke out in the front of the building and quickly spread along the moss-covered rafters. 34-year-old Walter Barnes and 8 members of his band were among the 209 people who were deleted. Darrell White goes on to say at the time of the fire was the second most deadly structural fire in the history of the nation. It's now listed as number 7 in the top 10. Well, it's not exactly something to brag about, but okay. Barnes' employer, the Chicago Defender, quickly erected a monument to the victims on a bluff overlooking the Mississippi River, just a few blocks from the site of the fire. Cities across the country changed their fire codes after the Natchez fire, clearly marked exits, occupancy levels, and rules about locked doors were put into place. The musicians who passed away, they were memorialized in song. Kathy Broughton in the box says, reminds me of the Beverly Hills Super Club fire. Oh, I'm not familiar with that one. Yeah, they sprayed it down with bug spray, which I guess at the time maybe seemed to make sense, because maybe there were bugs already in the moss, Spanish moss, like whatever. You don't want to get ticks and fleas or chiggers or whatever down there. I don't know. I ain't never been to Mississippi, but I'm assuming because it's hot and humid, it gets funky down in Mississippi. There's going to be all kinds of bugs. So I guess in theory, why wouldn't you just go to the, I don't know, go somewhere, go to the local Five and Dime and pick up some streamers to hang from the rafters. Go to the Piggly Wiggly and get some balloons and ribbon or something, man. Oh, there's a fire in northern Kentucky across from Cincinnati, Ohio. Ooch. Oh. Yeah, see, that's the thing, they just, we're just going to nail these windows and doors shut or padlock them shut. But then at the same time, we also want to be fancy. So let's hang some Spanish moss. Anyway, one last quick Wikipedia just about the fire itself, just to see what they say on the old trusty old Wikipedia here. Then we'll hear a couple of tunes and we'll take a quick mid-show break. So this is, as it's known as, the Rhythm Club Fire. So the Rhythm Club Fire, or the Natchez Dance Hall Holocaust. Wow. Very dramatic. Anyways, it was a fire in a dance hall in Natchez, Mississippi on the night of April 23rd, 1940. 209 souls perished and severely injured many others. Hundreds of people were trapped inside the building. It's the fourth deadliest assembly and club fire in U.S. history. Dance hall, a converted blacksmith shop, once used as a church, was a one-story steel-clad wood-frame building. Wait a second. So this place used to be a blacksmith shop? Don't they use fires in blacksmith shops? Yeah, they have big open pits with charcoal in there or coal. They gotta clang, clang, clang. You gotta heat up the, to hit it with on the anvil and the, right? I mean, they're not blacksmithing with, by rubbing two sticks together now, are they? Anyways, it was a building on First Catherine Street, 18 blocks from the city's business district. The building was owned by the Barnes family. It was leased by a social group called the Money Wasters. Well, that sounds good. The group hosted events and dances, brought in a live band to perform. The original band was scheduled to perform was Tiny Bradshaw and his orchestra. Ah, wow, heard of Tiny Bradshaw. But due to a scheduling conflict, the band canceled. It was replaced by Walter Barnes and his Royal Creolians. An orchestra from Chicago. Money Wasters member Ed Frazier ran the club on the night of the fire. Premises was a single-story wood building with corrugated steel siding. It was 120 feet or 36.5 meters by 38 feet or 12 meters, with 24 windows that were mostly shuttered or nailed shut at the time of the fire. There's only one exit with an inward opening door that opened into a main entrance foyer that had another set of doors also opened inward. Yeah, like water the tree. Ross in the box, the money wasters. Yeah, right. Kathy says Catherine Street was named after her. There you go. Modoc in the box. Good to see you, bud. How's it going? Thanks for shooting in. So on the night of the fire, the club recorded 577 paid admissions and 150 passes. And the orchestra had 14 members, 5 attendants, bringing a likely final total number of people to the club to 746. Advance tickets for admission were 50 cents. Tickets at the door, 65 cents. And the average age of attendees was between 15 years and 25 years old. Many attendees were members of the Money Wasters Club and their friends. Walter Barnes and his Royal Creolians was performing when the fire started near the main entrance door at around 11 p.m. Yeah, the only way in or out, and that's where the fire started, with windows nailed shut. Yeah, I agree with the chat. This sounds too fishy to me. Anyways, and it was fed by Spanish moss that had been draped over the interior's rafters as a decoration. Quickly engulfed the structure. To ensure there were no bugs in the decorative moss, had been sprayed with flit, a petroleum-based insecticide. Under the dry conditions, flammable methane gas was generated from the moss. Great. The Natchez Fire Department did not yet exist, but 2 volunteer companies provided 1 full-time firefighter. What? So they had 1 full-time guy between 2 volunteer fire departments? All right. I mean, that sounds weird, doesn't it?
I don't believe you.
Anyway. One of the men lived and worked from the Phoenix fire station, about 4 blocks from the Rhythm nightclub. The fire station received its first telephone call about the fire at around 11:15. First fire engine arrived within minutes. The first hose was targeted at the front entrance and upper ceiling of the lobby, and the second was sent to a small open window at the rear of the club. Sound of the victims' screamings could be heard through the town. Ouch. Fire was put out after around 10 to 30 minutes. It's quite a big time swing. How long did it take to put it up? 10 minutes, 20, 30 minutes. 30 minutes. So wait a second. So there was no fire department in Natchez, which we're going to have a look at Natchez here after the break. And that I find that hard to believe that in 1940 they didn't have a fire department. There was roughly, 10,000, 12,000 people in 1940? But one of the guys that was that was a full-time guy between these 2 volunteer companies lived and worked from the Phoenix fire station, which was 4 blocks from the Rhythm Club. It started at approximately 11 p.m., but they didn't get their call until 11:15. So it took 15 minutes for somebody to call the fire department. But the screaming could be heard through the whole town, and the fire station was only 4 blocks from the club. Why didn't somebody just run the 4 blocks from the burning building to the fire station and bang on the dang door? See, this whole thing sounds absolutely cockamamie to me.
Shenanigans.
Like, obviously, 1940, no cell phones, probably not even a payphone on the corner anywhere, unless there's a service station or, a big grocery mart, right? Like a Piggly Wiggly. Outside the Piggly Wiggly, they'll have them a payphone. Throw a nickel in there. But just run on the 4 blocks, man. especially considering they're saying that through the town they could hear the people, but I guess they couldn't hear them 4 blocks away at the fire station. Like, this whole thing just sounds. Anyway, 21 of the 24 existing windows have been boarded up to prevent outsiders from viewing or listening to the music. And as a result, the crowd was trapped. Some survivors were able to get out the front door through the ticket booth, while others tried to press their way to the back door, which was padlocked and boarded shut. Don't forget, the entire reason for this is they hung Spanish moss to look fancy and highfalutin for this big-time, big city Chicago orchestra coming to our little podunk town, apparently. So we want to look fancy, but we're going to board everything up. Upon realizing their limited options to escape the fire, many victims attempted to break through the corrugated steel walls. But were unsuccessful. People broke through windows using their hands and chairs, but the windows became jammed. Blinding smoke made, Ambulance took victims and survivors to hospitals in the city. Then there's the whole segregation thing. Somebody's got third-degree burns on 80% of the body. Well, they can't come in here now. And then, of course, band leader Walter Barnes and 9 members of his band were among those who passed. And they were credited for attempting to calm the crowd. And Barnes praised his hero for playing the song Mary by Irving Berlin. And of course, you have, laws had been changed and so on and so forth. And then they mention the songs again that were recorded just weeks after the terrible event to commemorate. Yeah, well, that's it too, right? The whole town heard the screams, but they didn't hear the live music. Well, yeah, because it was boarded up, you see. So that blocked the sound of the music, but didn't block the sound of the screams. And it was, 8 members of the band? So it's not just a little 3-piece jazz trio we're talking about here. That could very well be. Vaughn in the boxes probably did it to grab land leases and embezzle. Yeah, could be some big scam. You never know, right? There's a good point. Kathy Broughton in the box raises a good point. Sounds like some kind of ritualistic thing. Yeah. Could very well be. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought, right? Channel 53 says to over 200 people in something that size is absurd. In the Mississippi heat, and then we're going to board everything up and shut everybody in too. And those corrugated metal sheets or tin sheets, they, you just attach the outside of a building. They're not the best. It's hotter than Satan's taint. You don't have to be from Mississippi to know that. Heck, the roof on my granddaddy's barn had that crap on it. And you get up in the hayloft in the summertime, even here in Canada land, July, August, you're up in the hayloft of that barn. You got a sheet of plywood, and on the other side is that corrugated tin stuff. It's brutal, man. You might as well be sitting in an oven next to grandma's Sunday roast. Foxy in the box says, "Hey, Frankie. Hello, everyone. I see I'm very late. I'll have to rewatch. Better late than never. No need to apologize. Welcome. That's a good point, too. Title. Toast and play of that land grabbing going on today using the fire thingy. Yes. Yeah, somebody just commented in a video not too long ago about that very thing. Talking about the most recent resets being certain fires in certain areas. California. Excuse me. Hawaii. Excuse me. Sorry. Anyway, I'm going to quickly share a couple of tracks with you of these other songs that were recorded. A completely different style of blues than we heard at the top of the show here from the Howlin' Wolf with, that 50s version recorded at Chess Studios, which was very high tech for its time. Chess Studios were with their sound equipment. And the Wolf, a professional, already had been recording since the late 30s and had already been a traveling musician since the late 1920s at this point. So, pretty good quality with that Natchez Burning. These others are recorded at smaller labels and from professional musicians, but from an earlier style and earlier time, roughly 15 years before the Wolf recorded his version. So basically, again, within 2 weeks of this event occurring. So they're going to sound a little bit more, for lack of a better term, archaic or primitive, but be that as it may, I've got 2 of them this year for you. And again, they're all going to be 3 minutes or less. So they're going to be short but sweet. So the first one is called the Natchez Fire from 1940. And again, if you could let me know in the chat, in the box, once we get some sound, if you can hear it okay. So can you hear that all right? DW says, I have one Howlin' Wolf record. That's Ubu Khan. Good to see you. Howdy, howdy. Welcome. Thank you, title. Sounds good. Audio good. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, the Red Cross, actually, speaking of clues and blues, a lot of blues artists sing about how a lot of folks in the, shall we say, the African-American community in the South, from the Great Depression on through the WW2 years, were not big fans of the Red Cross and the Red Cross store. And that's something that I might actually look into doing an episode here, Jassy.
Lord, I know how you Natchez people feel today. Lord, I know how you Natchez people feel today.
So I know how you Natchez people feel today.
Some of them are thinking of the fire that took the children's life away.
Some of them are thinking about that fire that took their children's life away. You see what I mean about clues and the blues? They speak the truth, man. They didn't mess around. You may never be able to find an unedited version of this song digitally somewhere. But I bet you if you went on to some old blues record collector's forum online somewhere, you could probably buy a copy of this record. It might cost you a pretty penny, but it's basically like reading the newspaper for black folks back in the day. In 1940, when this was recorded, a 78 RPM record cost you about, I believe you're looking at about 65 to 85 cents, depending on the, how big the recording company was and how big the artist was. Wooden Chrome in the box. Good to see you. Hello, hello.
Lord, it was late one Tuesday night. People had come from miles around. Lord, it was late one Tuesday night. People had come from miles around.
So far that jives with what we've heard from multiple other sources and articles. It was Tuesday, right? And people have come from all over the place because pretty well-known artist was going to be performing there. one article made mention that people had been saving up for this.
They was enjoying their life when that rhythm club went down.
So they was enjoying their life when that rhythm club went down.
Lord, wasn't it sad and misery when the horses began to roll? Lord, it was sad and misery when the horses began to roll. It was over 200 dead and gone. Lord, and they can't come here no more.
So it was so sad and misery when her fuse began to roll. And then he repeats that. It was so sad and misery when their fuse began to roll. And then now I done forgot what the third line was.
And it's sad and misery when the horses began to roll. Lord, it was sad and misery when the horses began to roll. It was over 200 dead and gone. Lord, and they can't come here no more.
Okay, there was over 200 dead and gone. Lord, they can't come here no more.
I'm gonna tell all you people to listen to what I have to say. I'm gonna tell all you people to listen to what I have to say.
I'm going to tell all you people to what I have to say. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna tell all you people to listen to what I have to say.
Yeah, to listen to what I have to say, excuse me.
Don't be uneasy about your children, because they all is at rest today.
Because you're at unease about your children, because they're at rest today.
I'm gonna tell all you people to listen to what I have to say. Don't be uneasy about your children, because they all is at rest today. Goodbye, goodbye, fare you well, goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye, fare you well, goodbye. I just come to let all you people know what happened in that Natchez fire.
So that last pretty easy, goodbye, and all those people that died in that Natchez fire. So, again, just to prove my point, speaking, if not necessarily singing or in the lyrics, speaking of themselves being there, but if not that, then at least sort of reporting on current events. Again, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. So I have one more here to share with you, and then we'll take a quick break here. The second one is called The Death of Walter Barnes. Also from 1940. Let's get the title in there one last time.
listen. Listen to my lonesome song. Now I want everyone to listen. To listen to my lonesome song. Now I want to say what happened to poor old Walter Bunn.
So listen to my lonesome song, because he's going to tell you about poor Walter Barnes.
Now it was just about midnight, just about 12 o'clock.
I do my best, Title. I've talked about that before. You got to kind of have an ear for it, and I've been listening to blues for 4 decades. A lot of it's old. I mean, 70s electric blues and Chicago blues from the 60s and 1970s, and even more modern blues from the 2000s and right up to present day. But also the old timey stuff from the 20s and 30s. If I don't have it on some kind of record, I've got it on a CD or something. So, but it's tough sometimes because the recording quality isn't the best. Accent might be real heavy, and then of course you have different regional accents with it. It's not like every Mississippian sounds like every other Mississippian, black or white.
Now it was just about midnight, just about 12 o'clock. Oh, while the play his theme song, the dance all began to rock. Lord, and the people all was dancing, enjoy their lives so high.
Now the people was dancing, enjoying their lives so, it's either sing so fine or so high, enjoying their life so high. And by the way, in blues, especially back then on records, high could mean high or drunk, or both, crunk, lit, as the kids would say.
Now and the people's all was dancing, enjoy their lives so high. Just in a short while, the dance hall was full of fire.
And then in just a short time, the dance hall was full of fire. So there you go. A bit of a look at the Natchez Rhythm Dance Hall fire, Natchez, Mississippi. So where are we at here? Ooh, 1 hour and 20 minutes already. Wow, we covered a lot already. We still got a little bit more to cover here. So we're going to take a quick mid-show break. I'm going to give you a sneak peek at your upcoming midweek. When we come back, we'll do just that. We'll look at some photographs. We might even try to drop the little fella down and on the Goggle map machine, have a look as well. So if you're new to the channel, or as a reminder, every Wednesday, I upload a video that I call Vintage Footage, old-timey video set to music. And every Sunday for the live show, I'd like to give you a little sneak peek at that. So Wednesday, you get your vintage footage. Friday, boots on the ground video. And Sunday, back here for the live show. So this one is coming up this coming Wednesday. This is Winnipeg from the 1930s. It's about 3.5 minutes long. Smoke them if you got them. Stick around. We'll see you on the other side of 3.5. All right? Thanks a lot, everyone. Cheers. All right, and we are back. Welcome back, everyone. Frankie here, New West Reset. Thank you very much for shooting in. Joining a fella here for another one, another live one. New West Reset Live, episode 144, here today on this Sunday, November the 9th, 2025. Coming up on 6:30 p.m. local time. I appreciate you shooting in and joining me here for the Sunday Fun Day show. Woo! Woo! So for today, we're looking at the old world in music, clues and blues. This is the third installment here. We're looking at Natchez, Mississippi, and the Natchez Fire. We heard about it from Howlin' Wolf. We heard about it from a couple of other blues musicians that were actually pretty quick to it there within a couple of weeks recording about this terrible event. We checked out a couple of articles about how horrific this was as well. It was pretty horrific, pretty bad. But of course, a lot of the details when you do a little bit of poking around, very odd to say the least, but be that as it may. Thank you for joining me. Appreciate it. If you haven't already, please, do all the things. All right, so let's have a look at a couple of photographs here real quick of Natchez, Mississippi, see what we're talking about. And then we'll drop the goggle guy down on the map real fast as well. Thanks for joining me. Appreciate it. Thanks for winding down your weekend here with yours truly. So hopefully you can see that okay. This is it's not a bad shot, actually, for up on the hill. So nice they put it in a postcard, I guess. Natchez under the hill, Natchez, Mississippi. Here, I'm guessing it's probably a paddle boat, riverboat, steamer, maybe. Maybe it's a steamer. Depending on when the photo's taken. Could be diesel. Shot similar from a different angle. I love these things. They're beauty. Sometimes they have the big side paddle wheel, sometimes the rear one. The rear ones seem to be more common. I don't know. Maybe it's me. What's going on back here? Like this, really, you come into Natchez, do you? On this fancy thing. Fancy enough to put, all kinds of flags and streamers on it. Thank God they didn't hang Spanish moss, I guess. Close to these smokestacks. Anyways, what's going on here? You just got to go up across these crappy gangplanks. There's no dock. There's no nothing. Okay. I guess you just kind of go up this to this shack up here, I reckon. No guard railings or nothing. That's fine. He'll be okay. Don't worry about him. So let's see what we're talking about here with Natchez. Small town, but of course, you have your streetcar. Yep, got your tram there. Trolley just rolling through. Is this way up here some kind of fort or something? But yeah, pretty nice. Got some arched windows and big, high, tall doorways. Nice brick. Going to take the time to run your streetcar through here, but you're still going to have the wooden sidewalks, I guess. That always makes me scratch my head, but look at these. These are beautiful. Now, I guess it's easy to explain away. Oh, it's looks like you're in Europe. Well, yeah, because of the French and Spanish influence. Awfully fancy for this little town. Well, it's because of all the cotton money. Well, I don't know. I mean, even just these two-story buildings, just beautifully embellished. Of course, except for the streets and sidewalks, but yeah, it's fine. Jesse Nick says they still have that river cruise. It's expensive. Yes, and you'd wonder why, right? They've been running these things for so long. I think it'd be a detriment to their business. It'd be too expensive. Pricing themselves right out of the... I mean, it's not like back in the day when you had riverboat gambling and all that stuff going on. Anyway, I digress. A lot of fanciness going on. It's not the best picture. Getting a little pickolated on us. Sorry about that, but you can see here. This is late 1800s. Just chaos in the streets. Just muck, crap everywhere. But these buildings, just super beautiful. This is from 1940. So at the time of the recording of those songs and at the time of the recording of the Natchez Rhythm Club Fire. Beautiful arches here. It's almost like a promenade with arches. You know, you walk through here, the sidewalk goes underneath this arch. That's what it looks like to me anyway. Looks like they finally paved the streets. Pretty large structures here, you know. Not sure what's going on here. Big, huge smokestacks or something. So I guess this is the Underhill Natchez or whatever that was. Just going to build these right up to the water, and then we're still going to just bring the trolley right down here, are we? Okay. Just seems odd to me that you would have such an important street here, important enough to have businesses and residences here, permanent structures in terms of brick and stone or both, a trolley. The water's right here. But then to get on and off these paddle boats, it's just this crappy wooden gangplank. Not to mention all this going on way up here. Again, I've never been here, so I do not know. D. Moses and Sons Cheap Cash Store. Well, there you go. So it looks like it's all developed up top, but it's super developed down below here next to the water, which I guess stands to reason. And look at this big, steep, dirt, crappy road going to connect one to the other. I wonder if they had funiculars, you know, the incline elevators or streetcars. Because this is the same street that later on, apparently, the streetcar came up and down here. They have a train station. This is the depot station in Natchez. It's lovely. All the dormers. I mean, you know, it's legit because there's a steam train rolling right into town, right down the street, which also was another thing that always made me scratch my head. Oops, sorry. Here we go. Ubu said cheap cash is the best. It really is. Really is the best. Water the tree. Our buddy Ross saying missing retaining walls. Oh, and that steep slope. Maybe if a guy got in there with a shovel and a pickaxe, you might uncover some of that dirt and muck and find some retaining walls underneath there. Who knows? Again, so pretty. They put it on a postcard. You got a train that comes in on this side, and you got a train, and there's dual track. There's a track here, and then this track comes in from down the street. Very wacky. There it is, present day. Still have the old track. Oh, Brickline Street even. You know, they had to designate this as a train depot because it looks like every other train depot, even up here in Canada land, eh, buddy? Wait, what now? Yeah, not much going on in Natchez except this. Got some kind of circular tower, I guess, for lack of a better term. And then an onion dome on it. It's not the best photo, my apologies, but just your run-of-the-mill plantation house built in an octagon with an onion dome. Look at this circular, I guess it's a cupola, really. I don't know. I mean, there it is. It's still there. Look at this thing. It's magnificent. Yeah, wow, exactly. Jesse says, I think it's a museum. The train station or this place? Wouldn't surprise me if it's a museum. But man, let me just look at this. This wood. I'm assuming this is carved wood, but I don't know. These capitals up here. And this place is just, and then you need whatever the Sam steel this is. You got to have that on there. Try and tell me that's a flagpole. Then I'm gonna up and slap the silly at you. I'll beat the bricks off you. You try and tell me that's a flagpole. Come on, man. So here's the Rhythm nightclub in Natchez. Former blacksmith shop. Here's maybe this is the main entrance. Maybe this was just like a rib pit here. This place sold ribs, maybe. I don't know. Maybe you buy liquor here. But here's the Rhythm Club itself. It's got an interesting looking cupola or something on top of it as well. Here's an interior shot. Rhythm nightclub, Natchez. So I guess the story is they hung Spanish moss to make it look fancy. Oh, it kind of looks like it was already kind of maybe pretty fancy, considering it was used to be a blacksmith. Well, then he said it was a church, so maybe these are some of the leftover fixtures from when it was a church. Because I mean, this light fixture ain't going to be in no blacksmith shop I've ever seen. I've been in a few blacksmith shops in my day, believe it or not. It's not the best. It's pretty terrible. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, Turtle. Turtle's saying must have been standing room only. Like you could see where maybe they had tables, chairs set up along each side here on this little raised, and then maybe the center here was the dance floor. The band maybe playing up over here. I mean, I don't know. It's part of the roof's even caved in here already. Oof. Looks like I'm seeing, it looks like it might be brick back here, but I don't know. Maybe it's just a chimney or something. They really packed them in, I think. So unfortunate. Just a small file for that, for the photos. Like I said, let's open up the goggle machine real quick here. Go to the Google Maps and just check out Natchez. I'm a little more prepared here this time than I was for the Sleepy Hollow episode of the show. I've kind of put a couple of pins or stars actually on a couple of points of interest. Just so that we're not kind of jumping around too much and I can kind of get at her a little bit more easily here, a little bit more organized. So here's that Longwood place that we recently checked out. We'll be able to drop the guy down. Maybe. Let's put him here. Yeah, there it is. It's glorious. Of course, you got to go up 11.4 million stairs to get into her. Looks like there's an entrance around the back, and bet you dollars to good Canadian donuts, you got to go up even more stairs at the back. You know, like this is the ground floor on the front, but the lower floor is the ground floor at the back. But what a beaut. Look at this thing. Come on, man. Like I said, if it wasn't for that Howlin' Wolf song, the Natchez Burning, I never would have heard of Natchez, Mississippi. I don't know what the heck's going on around here, but it's crazy. It's crazy. Let's look at Elms Court here real quick. A lot of them, yeah, sure, I guess, plantation style. Oh, they're not going to let us look at this one, are they? It's about as good as we're going to get, I guess. Wow, look at this. Really nice. Like, just beautiful. Melrose. Oh, of course, you got to have a place called Melrose. At least Goggles helping us out on this one. And again, we're just going to kind of quickly. Oh, no, doing some monkeying, are we? Because of some of the slower stuff, maybe? We're redoing the. It's hard to tell because it's a composite photo. Da. It's like a whole complex of places. Melrose Place. I guess a lot of these you could, get away with, the official narrative. Well, they're plantation homes. That's the big house. I say that's the big house. Something like this. I mean, come on, man. And a lot of these are inns and bed and breakfasts. Wow, you dropped us in pretty close there, buddy. It's a little bit too close, man. Too close, man. Maybe we'll see it from the street, maybe. Probably not, though. But some of these were getting interior photos even. So, yeah, I would encourage you to get bump kiss out of that one. Check out some of the interiors because they're pretty awesome, to say the least. This is kind of what I was talking about in that comment on your crazy video, Ross. Water the Tree. It's one of those big curved drives that comes into a massive estate home, or hell, with what I've been seeing around there in Kansas City, Missouri, castles, stone castles. But either way, you'd have your horse and carriage pull right up into this big curved drive, pull right up, and you could just walk right in. And that might be what that little cave or tunnel thing was, sort of a little further down, right? So you have those curved stones that probably had a big, nice, beautiful wrought iron gate, and that was the drive up. And then it would take this sort of semicircular driveway, and on top here you might have like a observation platform, almost like a balcony, and underneath there is probably that big opening, and it was probably connected to all that water drainage and stuff you found. They may have had a fountain under there, maybe, or something like a water feature. Anyway, you know what I'm getting at. What's with all the photos, man? Hold still when you take the picture now, Mr. Photographer, man. What are you doing? And some of these places are just on top of each other, man. Look at this. Old ass brick wall. Another bed and breakfast. Dunleith Castle. Dunleith Castle. Where's that on here? Anyway, I'm getting super distracted. Yeah, look at this school, man. Look at this school. Never more than a few thousand people around here. Look at this place. A lot of closed off lower openings, or they've run some kind of HVAC or air conditioning through here. Of course, you got to have your 6 pillars in front. You know, that's just your primary school. That's the elementary school. Crazy. I mean, it's beautiful, but wow, man. You know, when they say it's a mansion, you know, you got to drop the guy down. Oh, yeah, let's take a picture. Okay. It's pretty nice, but it's a weird vantage point. But to be honest, it's kind of convenient. Look at these. It's nuts. Knucking Foots. Orleans Street. Yeah, come on, man. See, this kind of stuff is a pretty rare sight up here in Canada land, people. So I understand that, you know, when you get down into, you know, Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi, Nolans, you know, it's Florida, it might be a little bit more common sight, shall we say. But I mean, we have stuff like that up here, but they're as rare as hen's teeth. There's another brick wall. Like Natchez is just something else to me. I'm like, oh yeah, there's probably not much going on in Natchez. Just, you know, they've got that terrible fire, and that's kind of their claim to fame. And look at this. It's just everywhere, man. Every intersection, there's something interesting. There's a lot going on. I don't know. You let me know in the box. Have you before this? Had you heard of Natchez? I mean, if you're from, there's their courthouse. Sure, okay. If you're from Mississippi, I'm sure you have heard of Natchez. But I bet you nobody's heard of the Natchez fire, the Rhythm Club fire. There was a chemical plant that caught fire and exploded here too around some time back in the day as well. Yeah, this is just outstanding. Look at this. I mean, come on, man. Gotta have all your little bobules and bits all over this thing. Just amazing. Massive pointed arch. Look how deep that goes. Oh, a siren, an ambulance going by. That's how you know it's a legitimate New West Reset live show. Sirens. Yeah, this is just crazy. Absolutely goofy. Here's the museum for the Rhythm Club. Really, that's all they're going to give us, eh? It's just this. I guess it's better than nothing. They do have a plaque, so I guess it's better than having just the plaque. Look at this. What's going on here? Oh, it's just my house. It's fine. I know it's easy to get lost in these Google Map drops. I have a big retaining wall here, and then look at this, man. Lovely. Choctaw Hall. Okay. I got a pin in that. Oh, yeah, sure, of course. Jeez. So there's your stairway. There's an arched thing. A lot of times we see these boarded up or bricked or whatever. There's a big, I always speculate there's a big void under these staircases. Well, there you go. You got a, first of all, you got a door here. But then you have an entrance underneath here, man. We're going to be lucky. And yeah, let's put a window or a door under there. It's fine. Perfectly fine. It seems like almost every third place in this town has some kind of plaque or sign in front of it. Yeah, isn't there? Hippie Shake and the boxing, some really nice buildings here. Yeah, I would agree. It's funny, right? Some Kathy Broughton saying, I have one hell of an algorithm going on Instagram. Who known I was such a big Ruby fan. It's funny, I'll watch one video of something, just some random one-off thing, and then all of a sudden YouTube just starts feeding it to me. And then there's other stuff that I watch daily or once a week, and it doesn't recommend it. It doesn't recommend any stuff from that channel or that content creator. It's weird. Of course, YouTube and Insta are different beasts, but you know what I'm saying. So yeah, basically this is the old town center, as you can see. I mean, I love doing this, and I would encourage you to do it as well, just to kind of take a poke around, and you get to see stuff like this, if you're not familiar with this sort of thing. I mean, if you're from the area, it's like, yeah, yawn. Yeah, we get it, Frankie. It's fabulous. Oh, yeah, there's the Natchez Grand Hotel. Look at the size of this place. What does Natchez need such a big hotel for? Like coming down here in the 1908 to buy some cotton and need a place to stay. I traveled 100 miles to come down here to trade cotton. I got to stay somewhere. I mean, is this the old train depot? Yeah, there's the train depot. Let's jump down to this bottom here real quick. Yeah, it's down here. American Cruise Line Natchez docking site? Really? Must be paddle boat. That's what they must mean by American Cruise Line, because a cruise ship ain't docking here. It's got to be a paddle boat. But anyways, this is the tram used to run down here. This is that lower part right along the water. You can see they've kind of at least tried to do something here, but I mean, look, you got all this down here. It's like it's a whole separate town. And I wouldn't say this is the black part of town in a segregated, southern southern, Natchez, Mississippi town, because the overwhelming majority of Natchez was and still is African American. It was black. So look, they kept their shitty wooden sidewalks, and then look at where the fire hydrant is in relation. It's not really on the sidewalk and not really on the street. Sorry. You don't want to hit that with your car. Yeah, we painted some lines around it. That'll stop a truck from backing up into that. Even these little places, stack the brick. What is going on with this? Mark Twain Guest House. So this was a saloon here. This guy who owned the saloon lived above it, and this was his guest house. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. I have no idea. Doesn't make sense to have a guest house next to a saloon. So yeah, the tram or the trolley, the streetcar used to come down here. You can see it's pretty steep. No retaining wall here, unless it's underneath all of this growth and all this muck. They've put in a newer-ish one here, or maybe they just there was an old one and they smeared it with schmutz and said, oh yeah, no, we built that in the 40s or the 30s. It's part of the WPA Public Works program. But yeah, that's that whole lower section. They used to have the trolley go down there. And then there's the hotel. One last thing I'll share with you here quick. How do you get a load of this casino? Magnolia Bluffs Casino. I'm not sure about this place. This looks old to me. Whether it's wood frame or not, whether it's just clad in wood, but it's maybe brick or I don't know. I'm assuming it's wood, but it looks old. It looks like it's an older building that's been repurposed as a casino. Can't say for sure. This just, Alberta's a landlocked province, so I'm not used to seeing this kind of stuff built over a river like that, but we have a river here in Calgary. We have two of them, and there's nothing like this. I just thought that was very interesting. So yeah, there you go. That is Natchez, Mississippi. I would encourage you to go take a little bit of a peek yourself. It's beautiful. And if you're in the area, let me know down in the comments there. If you're from Natchez or if you're from close by. So where are we at here? 2 hours on the nose. All right. Get ready to wind this thing down here. Stuffed Beagle's going live if he hasn't already. Before I go, I want to share with you a couple of quick little things. There's something that I've got to put to rest. There's this whole pepperoni on pizza debate going around, and that it's Canada's fault. Not pepperoni, excuse me, pineapple on pizza. And that it's Canada's fault. It was the brainchild of some crazy Canuck up here in Canadian land that decided, I'm going to put some pineapple on this here pizza, eh? There's this big grand debate about it. About it. Not only is Canada responsible, but should pepperoni be, I keep saying pepperoni. Of course, pepperoni should be on pizza. Should pineapple be on pizza? Well, let's put this to rest, shall we? Here we go.
From Greece, we have a message for the Italians.
The man who put pineapple on pizza was Greek. His name was Sotirios Sampanopoulos.
Nah!
It's good, huh, Malacca? He yells out Malacca. Oh, that's so funny to me. That is so funny. Malacca. Kathy says, I love pineapple on pizza. Tardle says, yummy. Chassie's in there with that too. I like pineapple on pizza. I'll tell you what, I don't mind it. Is it my first choice? No. Is it my fifth choice? No. But it's fine. I mean, I'm not gonna go crazy. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna do like this guy.
So with the pineapple. Pooh, you bastard. Pizza with the pineapple, it's a shit.
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, pineapple's delicious. You want to put pineapple on your pizza? Hey, man, go right ahead. It's fine by me. I ain't gonna fight you. I'm gonna fight you on it. You do whatever you want. You know, do what you eat what you want to eat. All right, just everything in moderation, including moderation. So I'll have a third piece of cheesecake. It's fine. At the end of the day, you'll be fine. All right, just don't do it all the time. Same as, some of the giggle water, wobbly pops. You want to have a couple of barley sandwiches, a couple of brewskis. That's fine. Just don't drink like 2 cases of it. That's all. Because you never know. You could be out minding your own business and you get pulled over by the cops, and then you got to do one of these.
Back to witness the sea walk of the incredible. Keep it gangster, dog. Keep it gangster. Keep it gangster, dog. Keep it gangster. Keep it gangster, dog.
That's one way to get out of the old sobriety test. Field sobriety test. Anyway, there you go. That is going to seal the deal here for Frankie. New West Reset Live, episode 144. The Old World in Music, Clues in the Blues, the 3rd installment. Thank you very, very much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it. A little bit of something different, but same, but different. Again, as a reminder, links below for everything we covered, as well as how you can get a hold of a fella, BitChute, email, and of course, Rumble. So thank you very much, YouTube and Rumble. My location map is down there as well. And if you should feel so inclined as to make a generous donation to the channel, thank you very much. Certainly not necessary, but greatly appreciated. I'll send you a t-shirt. And guess what? I got a call from the printers Friday. Hats are ready to be picked up. I will be picking those up tomorrow on my way to work. The New West Reset Schmutz baseball hats. So keep your peepers peeled on here to the channel for a look at that. And as well as we saw in the sneak peek, Wednesday vintage footage. We'll see you Friday for Boots on the Ground, and then back here next Sunday for the live show. So until then, take care out there. Have yourselves a good one, and we'll see you on the next one. All right? Thanks a lot, everyone. Take care. Cheers. Bye.
It's a mystery. It's a mystery wrapped in a riddle inside an enigma.